Hello and welcome to the Art of Artisan. Today I'm going to be playing another tempo deck. Instead of the Delver tempo deck, today we're playing a Bant Double Strike tempo deck. So the core of this deck is two cards. Illuminator Virtuoso, which whenever it becomes targeted, you connive, which means it can get a +1/+1 counter on it. So this is a growing double striking threat. And Disciplined Duelist, which swings in for 4 and has a shield counter on it. And the double strike on it means that it's very hard for your opponent to remove the shield counter. So, along with these cards, to be a tempo deck, we need to be disrupting our opponent's game plan. And it turns out there are some perfect cards to do that in Blizzard Brawl, which pumps up our creature and has it fight something else, and Broker's Charm, which also pumps up our creature and has it fight something else. Both of these are especially good when targeting Illuminator Virtuoso, as it permanently pumps it up and pumps it up for that turn. Just targeting this with 2 Blizzard Brawls on a turn can turn it into something that swings in for 10 damage that turn. Also, as far as disruption goes, we've got a lot of removal. We've got Circle of Confinement, Touch the Spirit Realm, Kabira Takedown, which is just a one-of, but it's an MDFC, it's pretty powerful just because it can be a land. And then Lagrella. Lagrella exiles one of our creatures and one of our opponent's creatures, or just one of our opponent's creatures if we want. The reason I like this in the deck is if we're scared of a sweeper, we can exile one of our double strikers. And when it comes back into play, it comes back with 2 +1/+1 counters, which means a Disciplined Duelist is now swinging in for 8 damage every turn. So this can be a weird way to, if we've overcommitted to the board and we think our opponent's about to wrath, we can step back a bit and then make it so that if our opponent wraths, we still have like 8 damage in play. Along with all this exile-based removal, I threw in Stonebinder's Familiar, which is a very powerful growing threat. Once again, we love growing threats in tempo decks. And then Voice of the Vermin is our Curve Topper. This card is just good because it makes something into a 4/4. It's a little bit hard to remove with the shield counter. It's especially good with the double strikers, making them hit for 8 damage. Then we've got some protection for our deck. Wild Shape is just a one-of, but it's especially good because it can both give hexproof or turn our double strikers into something that hits for 6 trampling. Then we've got some counter spells. Juari to counter unless they pay 1, and negate hard counter if they are playing non-creature spells. Mana base, a little bit painful. We've only got 10 basics in this deck, and then a bunch of non-basics. So we're going to be playing a bunch of tap lands, but that is Bant Double Strike Tempo. I had good success with this while testing it, but as usual, it'll probably do worse when I record. Regression to the mean for those of you who love statistics. So let's head into the games and see how it does. Game 1. Playing against Maris. I have no idea how to pronounce an SZ. And we've got tap lands, but we've got all 3 colors of mana easily available. We've got Virtuosos into Broker's Charm. This will be a bit slow, especially on the play, but I think we keep it. We can't throw away a hand that has all the colors of mana that we need. Okay. I'm going to get white in case we do just want to chuck down our Virtuoso. Although I don't think it's likely that we actually want to throw it down when our opponent has something that can remove it. And yeah, we're definitely not throwing down a Virtuoso this turn. Definitely not throwing down one. It will die immediately. Okay. So I guess we just play a tap land and hope our opponent's plan is not just to beat us down with Shambling Ghasts, because if so, we may lose. Also, I think they're zombies. I don't think they're just a sacrifice shell. I think they may be zombies. And very awkwardly, they have us kind of locked. I do not know what to do here. Like, I think our best bet is to get down a Voice of the Vermin and just try to bait out them sacrificing multiple Shambling Gas to kill it. Oh gosh. Yep, Shambling Gas beatdown may be all it takes for our opponent this game. But we do now have a blocker. And then if we draw another land, the reason I'm waiting in part is that I can play a Virtuoso and immediately Broker's Charm it. I maybe should have been using this to draw cards, but we don't really have good answers to a bunch of 1/1s. That, like, usually 1/1s aren't a problem because we've got double strikers, but in this case it's looking kind of bad. We'll get rid of one of them, and because of the shield counter, it can't just remove our Voice of the Vermin. It does draw our opponent a card, give them a zombie. Ugh, yeah, not fantastic. Okay. Our opponent does waste some removal on that. Disciplined Duelist still dies. Never mind. Illuminator Virtuosos it is. And now we likely just die to Shambling Ghast beatdowns. If our opponent does all-out swing, we double block the zombie to block maximum damage and prevent them from killing our Virtuosos. So yeah, and because both of these have first strike, we end up killing the zombie before either of our Virtuosos dies. Oh dang, I do like the combo here though. The Opportunist and Procession. Feed the Swarm. Okay, our opponent's trying to turn on their Procession. Keep it going. We're gonna need something pretty good to be able to come out of this. Deals damage equal to its power. Okay, we can kill the Tainted Adversary. You attack that. We're gonna have to connive away something. It can't just be a... I think we get rid of Disciplined Duelists, as painful as that is. We just cannot afford to play it and get it removed easily. We are drawing our opponent's cards, though. We have 2 blue, 2 green, 2 white. Wow, that's pretty good. I guess we'll just grab another green then. And I don't think we attack. We are pretty safe to block with it, though. Circle of Confinement on Morbid Opportunist seems important. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Never mind, we are Circle of Confinementing the Scob, and then we're going to Broker's Charm the Opportunist. I think that's the correct way to do it. Oh, please, not more removal. Yeah, our opponent's playing a pretty solid answer to our deck. I mean, it's not good that we literally are just going to lose to Shambling Ghasts, but so it goes. And is that... that's barely not lethal. But there is no draw in our deck, which saves us. We have no life gain, and we have no way to block 4 creatures next turn. Does that do anything? I can answer everything except for 1 creature here. Oh, that's sad. So I can Circle of Confinement and remove more Blade Stitch Scob, let's say. Actually, I should have done Opportunist. Oopsie-daisy. Oh. I did not have enough white mana to do that anyways. Alright. Good game, opponent. And that puts us off at a bad start. We're already feeling a lot worse than my recording. Regression to the mean, striking hard. On to game 2. As we're getting into game 2, I'm curious what you guys think of the audio that naturally comes with the game. I'm going to play the rest of this video without the audio, but I did have it on for the intro in the first game. No double strikers, but we do have a decent setup in general here. Actually, I'm going to reship it. I hope I do better. Okay, yeah, this is better. I'm glad I did. But yeah, if you could let me know what you think, whether you prefer audio or no audio, that would be very helpful, because I am still very unsure what to do with these videos. Still feel like a completely new YouTuber. We'll grab a plains here. Opponent playing something that's white, but not playing early plays. Especially with the Shattered area, the Shattered Skyclave. I'm gonna guess that they're playing Orzhov Midrange. Oh no, they're just playing some sort of budget brew. Yeah, this looks like some sort of budget brew life gain deck. Oh, blue. Okay. My hope is that they're playing one of the coolest decks of all time. So I normally hate Righteous Valkyrie, but there's one card that can make me love if you have Righteous Valkyrie in your deck, and that is Mystic Reflections. If you have Mystic Reflections to make a bunch of Righteous Valkyries in one turn, then you win my respect. Because that's just a crazy combo that instantly wins the game. It's very unique, uses a card that no one ever uses. I love Mystic Reflections. I wish it was an uncommon, because I would totally play it in all my Artisan decks. Alrighty. Knocking our opponent down to a solid 21. And passing. Next turn we have either 2 removal spells or play another threat and a removal spell. Okay, opponent's not doing anything and that scares me. Oh, this wasn't even a removal spell. I was thinking it was this. Well, now we have the option to do what I just barely exactly said. Our opponent probably has to counter this if they're not playing. Wow, what are they doing? They've got life gain, they're Azorius, and they're doing nothing besides drawing cards right now. Even if they've got like a Doomscar, it doesn't kill the Duelist, and I'm still getting him for 4 every turn. So I feel like they're a combo deck. The life gain that draws, the digging through your deck card, everything about this is looking pretty life gainy. Okay. Dwari runes, they've also got counter spells and a big finisher. So they're definitely planning to go to the late game with their deck. Lagrella, not too exciting. There's no way that they can exile or reduce the toughness of our creatures, so these duelists are going to be very hard for our opponent to deal with. So I think I just play another one. Like, I could play Lagrella and protect against Wraths, but that actually just slows down our clock, and is not actually that helpful. Okay, Fading Hope is fine. We will just replay that this turn then. The question is, do I just Wild Shape the Virtuoso? I probably should have Wild Shaped the Duelist, given Hexproof. Although I really do prefer to Wild Shape the Virtuoso. Okay. They're playing something weird, something really weird. I have no idea what it is. As soon as they get us with it though, they're definitely winning right now. Just being able to slow us down, and we have not drawn any of our counter spells. We only have 4, but Lier. Okay, that is immediately going to get exiled with Lagrella, which will fail to work because they're just going to bounce it, but that'll stall our opponent for a turn. Okay, so this might just be like a Lier control deck. I'm still confused by a lot of their decisions. Okay, so Touch the Spirit Realm with Lagrella is kind of good, because we can reuse her as a removal spell. Cannot counter, so this explains why our opponent wasn't countering anything. They're a Lier deck. Okay, opponent lets it resolve because they kind of have to. And I don't think we exile any of our own things. Or actually, I think we do. We're going to exile Illuminator Virtuoso, yes. And then we're going to use Touch the Spirit Realm next turn to blink our Lagrella, which will get rid of their Lier, hopefully, and it will return our Illuminator Virtuoso in as a pretty big creature to beat our opponent down with. Disciplined Duelist in the long run is better to have exiled, just because it's got the shield counter and it won't pump itself naturally. But I think just being able to answer Like, just getting in the damage now is way more important. Okay. Opponent passes. Negate is absolutely useless here. What do we want to do? We need to save up 2 mana. So really, we don't have anything we can do. If we're super desperate, we can touch the Spirit Realm to Lier and negate. Blizzard Brawl does not kill Lier. I could Wild Shape Blizzard Brawl, but then do they have protection for it? I'm actually not sure if they have protection for it. I probably should do that then. Because it's not like I'm going to be using those. It's a little risky to do that, because then they can just blow us out with a bounce spell on the duelist. Opponent blocks. That's a little surprising, yeah. Because the way that it works, they'll just be removing a shield counter and losing Lier. If our opponent wraths, then we're safe. If our opponent doesn't wrath, then we're safe. Like, I'm not sure what our opponent's got going on, but I do wish this exiled and returned it immediately, just so we could remove Lier with Lagrella and then negate whatever they do. Not gonna happen, but still a pretty cool thing that can happen. And opponent passing to attackers, getting in with Lier. Okay. And I do think we're just gonna block here. And then we're gonna touch the Spirit Realm on it immediately. And our opponent can't really do anything to interact with that. So we exile our Lagrella. Oh, you know what we should have done? Oh no, never mind, we shouldn't have. Alrighty. Gonna get our Lagrella gone, and our opponent cannot play another Lier or anything to stop this. They're kind of just, like, because we're doing it at their end step, we're gonna remove their Lier, which is a really nice combo, actually. Lagrella with Touch the Spirit Realm. Did not notice how good this would be. But being able to remove it on their end step is going to be really powerful. And then this turn, can we win? That's a good question, because we've got 5 double striking damage. We can pump it up to more than that. We do have lethal this turn, assuming that our opponent doesn't have any interaction, which blue-white deck, 5 mana up, probably has interaction. Specifically, I'm expecting a bounce spell, another Fading Hope. Although they may use it on their own Lier right now. They do. We've got Memory Deluge up, but we've got Wild Shape and Negate up. This Negate may win us the game. Okay, so I Wild Shape this. It's going to end up being a 6/6. That's 8, so that's going to be 16. Yeah, we have exactly lethal. Alrighty. Swing in with everything. Opponent thinking. Wandering Emperor gets negated, and that is the game. Oh, their Lier not being in play just ruined it for them. And we turn this into a 3/3 trample and connive with it. We'll discard Disciplined Duelist, why not? It's now going to be a 6/6. And we hit them for Exaxes. 1/1 with Bant Tempo. And that was a beautiful demonstration of how a tempo deck works. I was really happy with that. Alrighty, on to game 3. Game 3 versus Tarsanian. We've got a removal heavy hand. It'll be a bit awkward to try and play things on curve with this. Against the right deck, we just win this fairly quickly. But I do think we would want a fight removal spell to make sure that we do well with this, so I'm going to mulligan. Okay, yeah, this is pretty much the same hand, but better. all 3 colors of mana. We've got Virtuoso into Broker's Charm, which Broker's Charm I still think is one of the weakest of the charm cycle. Like, in this deck, it's pretty much just bad Blizzard Brawl. I mean, it also has incidental other uses, but the other uses have very rarely come up for me. Okay, Silver for Master. Playing against some sort of... Actually, I'm just going to Circle of Confinement that right now. I don't want them to get to ninjutsu anything in early on. So circling that seems wise. Kaido. Okay. It's going to phase out, but that'll be kind of useless. We're not threatening it anyways. This turn we're going to get green mana and play Illuminator Virtuoso. Also, just a huge shout out to Wizards for making these lands. They are such a good design. You're not forced to have priority holding up Evolving Wilds to hide information from your opponent or whatever. Like, it's just such a good land for this, for an online client. Okay, Infernal Grasp. That is a little bit sad for us, but we can take it. Opponent's going to start drawing with Kaido. That is an issue for us. You're a takedown. I think we just run out Voice of the Vermin, though. Shield counter on this is going to actually be kind of an issue for our opponent. Unless they have, like, Essence Capture. Okay, no. Bounce spell could work, but I'm not sure. Yeah. I don't think a ninja deck would be running Fading Hope. Unless they're running, like... I guess if they have a bunch of ETB creatures, then Fading Hope makes some sense. Ooh, sweet. Kaido, I think, is dead here. We can fairly easily kill Kaido. Especially if our opponent, like, plays another creature right now. Nope, okay. Okay, we can Stonebinder's Familiar, Kabira Takedown. That's one option here. We can play out Disciplined Duelist and Stonebinder's Familiar and hedge ourselves up for the future. I actually think I like that more. Just use our mana efficiently. If we draw a card, we have 2 removal, and a land, we have 2 removal spells, regardless of what color. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll do this first. Play around Jawari with our more important threat. Okay, it resolves. And then I think we swing in now. I should have swung in first. Not let our opponent know we have a double striker. So that gives them a lot more motivation to kill Voice of the Vermin. We'll try to kill Kaido. Pump up the Voice. Spectral Adversary. Probably going to phase out our Voice. And I can no longer speak. Our opponent phased out my voice. I just realized that my voice was a little bit scratchy when I said that. Phase out our voice. So it was a little bit of a funny moment. Opponent's creatures are all flying, and they're hitting us for 6. They're hitting us for 7 every turn. We are on a tight clock here. But we will be able to start removing things pretty efficiently next turn. Get rid of both the Spectral Adversaries, hopefully. Okay, no ninjutsu this turn. Kaido continues drawing our opponent cards. Circle of Confinement, another one would be a good draw here. A very good draw here. A very good draw here. Holy cow, our opponent's clock is increasing rapidly. Jawari is also okay. So we could pump up the Duelist, but I think the play here is just take down the Master. If our opponent tries to, like, negate or something, we can just Jawari them right back. I do love me some Jawari Disruption. Yeah, we're not going to let them get that value. Fading Hope, no. Oh, they could pay 1. I was thinking it was a 2-mana spell. Oh, I'm so dumb. Oh, no. And I guess we just swing in hard at Kaido with both of these. See how our opponent decides to block. We'll make Disciplined Duelist passive for fun. Oh, that was a huge punt on my part. I think we're dead now. We can't block a single one of their creatures and they're about to pump them all. If they have like a second Silver Fur Master in hand, we just die immediately. Or we're already dead. We're already dead. Oh! We were dead regardless of what we did, but Jwaring that was a big punt. You're already dead, yes. My wife has pointed out that I am already dead. I'm really glad she knows that's a magic card. Well, they didn't even pump the Silver Fur Master. Are they able to? Oh, attacking creature. Alright. Well, that was brutal. I have yet to update the record. I will update that. Alright, on to game number 4. Game number 4 against Painting Solid. Actually remembered to update the record in between games this time. Wow, we are just not getting any of our good draws, or I feel like we had a good matchup last time if we had the fight spell Illuminator Virtuoso. We got Stonebinder without exile based. We're just drawing the wrong halves of our combos constantly. I think we just have to keep mulliganing. Okay, I guess we keep this. We've got removal. This is maybe worse than the first hand. Actually, pretty definitely worse than the first hand, but I don't want to go down to 5, especially in a 3-color deck where I could just have terrible lands. Forest. Opponent playing something, perhaps mono blue? Illuminator Virtuoso. What a draw. Get ready for this to get Jwaried. We're just going to slam it right into the Jwari. Or make disappear. Make disappear is also an option. Perhaps our opponent's playing like, ooh, that's probably, if I had to take a guess, that's probably Saw It Coming. And if our opponent plays Island, Fading Hope's our Disciplined Duelist, then I'm almost certain it's Saw It Coming. That'd be a pretty good line for the opponent. Multiple green probably is best here. So they're going to Fading Hope. So that's Blue's. Blue's only solid removal that they have is Fading Hope into Counterspell. However, there is no 1-mana blue counterspell for creatures. So we should just be fine to redeploy. And our opponent does not have another Fading Hope, or else they would have gotten priority there. So we are probably going to want to use Touch the Spirit Realm as a protection spell here. So we'll put this on white. And just swing in. Keep poking the opponent. Okay, good. If they played another Fading Hope, they do have something that they can play, which means they either got a 3-mana draw spell, like Thirst for Knowledge or something, or, okay, they're Simic. That's why they've been doing nothing so far. We could throw this out as a draw too. Yeah, let's do it. Our opponent may not want to counter because this is just a draw spell, and the opponent would have to tap out for it. It'd make it harder to counter future spells this turn. Okay, but they choose to counter. Oh, and it's 1 mana off. Okay. Well, there we saw Broker's Charm doing a different mode than the basic one. We've got our opponent on a 4-turn clock. I mean, if they keep doing nothing, we've got them eventually, right? Pass to the opponent. I actually really want them to start playing creatures so we can remove them with Blizzard Brawl and Circle of Confinement. Like, we've got a bunch of dead cards in hand. We've been facing a bunch of creature light decks, and it's been kind of funny to me. If we exile it with Touch the Spirit Realm, that also fizzles the card draw for our opponent. Because Touch the Spirit and into the Royal will have no legal targets. So they don't get so it doesn't actually resolve. Okay, Disciplined Duelist, keep getting in there. We only need 2 more attacks. If our opponent just keeps fizzling, then we officially have won the tempo game. Oh goodness, still no lands. I wonder if our opponent's some sort of ramp deck. Oh my gosh, we've got such a bad hand. We do have Wild Shape for protection. Yeah, we're gonna Wild Shape it. Based on what they've been playing, I don't think they have any other spells in hand to actually interact with this unless they throw out their Saw It Coming just to prevent 4 damage. Saw it coming. Okay. They do get a Scry here, which is probably really important for them. I wonder if they're like a Delver deck or something where they just haven't drawn any of their creatures. They like kept a really nice interactive hand. Although I would not have kept the hand if it was like that. Circle of Confinement, because technically when it copies our creature, it turns into a 3 converted mana cost creature. Swing in. One more turn. Oh my goodness, they concede. Well, if our opponent was playing more creatures, we actually probably would have won more handily. But that is Tempo Deck 101. Play a single creature and then just protect it, remove your opponent's stuff. Alrighty, on to game number 5. Let's see if we can get the winning record. I feel really bad for our opponent last game. Playing when you're a little bit land screwed and your opponent's playing tempo, it's the worst feeling. Because you finally get to start doing stuff and it's just a little bit too late. This is 3-drop tribal without guaranteed all 3 colors. That's a pretty quick mulligan. This is all the colors. Got an okay-ish curve. Yeah, we'll dump the Wild Shape. Broker's Charm is probably going to end up being a draw spell again this game. Unless our opponent has some pretty low toughness creatures, which does not seem likely against mono green. We'll see if they're mono green. Are there any good green decks in the format besides mono green? Something with Lotus Cobra. Yeah, we'll just play out this and pass to our opponent. Okay, another Lotus Cobra. So our opponent really wants to... Okay, it's Gruul Landfall. I'm pretty sure they're just a full-on Landfall deck. I'm ready for the Scoot Swarm next turn. Okay. Yeah, that's actually a little bit scary. The Valakut Exploration. We can just remove something this turn, but that's all we can do. I think we use Broker's Charm so that next turn we can Circle of Confinement and leave up Jwari Disruption. Yeah, we'll do that. Doggy, fight, snake. And then do we swing in? Our opponent's not very likely to actually block this, so I think we go for it. Yep, alright. And we need to aggro them out pretty quickly. We can't let them... Like with Valakut Exploration and Scoot Swarm, there's no way we win the long game. Oh, they don't have a land. Scoot Swarm, you are doing nothing this game. Thank flipping goodness. That is a terrible guard to play against with a tempo deck where you don't have sweepers. Luckily, it did not take off. Valakut Exploration, we will Jwari that in an instant. And we're looking pretty good here. Opponent's thinking about whether to leave the Cobra to block. That is, let's see. Play another white mana. Then we can leave up blue-white, leave our opponent a little bit scared. Pass to the opponent. Opponent has another Scoot Swarm, but no land, I think. Oh, shoot, they have a land. Alright, oh no. They have 2 lands. Oh no. Okay. We may have just lost to that. And luckily that one they can't play this turn. Okay, but opponent having next land starts making Scoot Swarm copies, and we didn't draw anything useful. And we didn't draw anything useful. Opponent doesn't need their Lotus Cobra anymore, but I think we've still just got to swing in. We've got to close out this game really fast. They need a block with 3 to actually stop that. Yeah, that does nothing. Green mana. We need to hope our opponent doesn't draw a land. They drew a land. Okay. If they didn't draw land, we could have gotten a removal spell, and that could have won. I don't understand. Just a quick tip. If you're going to play this deck, do not play Prosperous Innkeeper unless you're using it as... Well, no, not even as ramp, because you want land-based ramp. Like, people will play it because, oh, it's crazy good with Scoot Swarm. But all I can say in response to that is, it's good with Scoot Swarm, but if you've already got Scoot Swarm going, then you're probably already winning the game. So it doesn't matter if you've got Prosperous Innkeeper down, if you do have Scoot Swarm going. And then if you don't have Scoot Swarm going, then there's no reason to... Like, it's not good without Scoot Swarm. It's not... If you have Scoot Swarm, you're already winning. So it's really not a good card in the deck. I mean, like, we already weren't going to win this as soon as Scoot Swarm started going off. We can hope opponent doesn't keep top decking lands, but for some reason I get the feeling they're going to. Okay. Stimulus package, what the... Okay, our opponent's playing something really weird, and I'm kind of disappointed that we're losing to it. I will happily block both of these. Actually, no, just one. Because I just kill it for free. And then they can choose to ping something, but nothing that they ping will actually be that significant. Although a second ping now does kill the duelist. Blizzard Brawl. Let's go. Okay, so Blizzard Brawl, we're going to take out one Scoot Swarm. If we draw another removal spell before our opponent draws a land, then maybe we're in this. Maybe we're in this. And we now have a 3-power double striking indestructible, which is now going to be a 5-power double striking indestructible. Okay, opponent don't draw land, us draw removal. Literally any removal spell in our deck works right now, and is very good. Okay, what is opponent doing here? Alright, yeah, they're taking it. They're taking the full 10 damage. Okay, maybe Prosperous Innkeeper is good, maybe just because it helps them do that. Like, that seems really risky. Because, like, if we have any way to give our creatures evasion, which we don't in this deck, but I guess we can give Disciplined Duelist Trample with Wild Shape. Wild Shape could win us this game. Because it turns into a 4/4. Oh no, it only will be a 4/4. None of this is pumping, it's just setting base power. So yeah, we'd have a 4/4 Trampler as maximum, and they got the land. Okay. Alright. I think we're just dead now. They just swing in, and are we dead? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, we're dead. I should have seen that coming. That's why they didn't block. I should have done more math. And our final record is 2-3. I think I may just play a couple more games with this deck because I really enjoy it, and I feel like we haven't had good running with it, just with the card draw, which is a flaw with the deck. But I want to do another game with it. Alrighty. Game number 6. Bonus game because I like this deck, and I don't feel like it's been playing like I want it to. And this hand looks pretty good. No green mana is a little bit bad, but we do have a decent amount of green mana in the deck. No green mana is actually kind of crippling, even though this hand's great. Mulligan. Okay. We've got all 3 colors of mana. Voice of the Vermin is kind of mad looking. we'll dump voice, and we're just gonna have to hope we draw removal. Our whole deck revolves around our removal spells pumping our creatures. We may just need more removal, but we have a ton. Like some of our games, we've just been too much removal against like control and stuff. Alright, we need blue more than anything from these, so. And we want to have white on turn 1 to play Stonebinder. Eye Twitch. Ooh, this may be another Shambling Ghast matchup. We'll get this for blue. Okay. Opponent, what are you up to? Okay, our opponent is not just some mono black sacrifice. They're some sort of Rakdos Treasures deck, I guess, which almost guarantees that they're going to have Shambling Ghast, but at least it's not on the battlefield yet. I think green is the most important one to have 2 of, simply because then we can do. I needed to be green or white. No, actually, no attacks. My bad. It needed to be green or white, and it also is the one that we have for like Blizzard Brawl and such. So if we like top deck a land and then Blizzard Brawl, we'll have the option to play it that way. We'll have the option to like Discipline Duelist and the next turn Discipline Duelist and Blizzard Brawl. Opponent playing Valky. Okay, so Valky's actually a serious problem here just because it can, it turning into a Discipline Duelist in response to removal is kind of scary. So I think this turn we've just got to straight up remove it. If our opponent doesn't have removal for Virtuoso, this next turn should be pretty good though, because it'll be a 3 power maximum, 2 power minimum. Opponent passing their turn. Touch the Spirit Realm. Do we touch the Spirit Realm or do we Broker's Charm? Okay, touch the Spirit Realm, pumps up the Stonebinders. Broker's Charm pumps up this, but it is card draw. But do we need card draw if we're just running out? I guess we also don't want our opponent to know what's in our hand. So we're going to do this. Remove it. And I'm thinking that our opponent's going to be playing Immersturm Predator. This is looking kind of like an older deck. So I do want Touch the Spirit Realm. So I think we actually discard Discipline Duelist. And hope that this gets us there. If our opponent has removal on the Virtuoso, we are just in serious trouble. Super serious trouble. This looks like removal. Deadly Dispute. Okay, I am alright with Deadly Dispute. It's still not as good, but we... Oh, wow. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker. Interesting. Somehow... Oh! Because we still had a legal target for part of the spell didn't actually fizzle. That's something that I did not realize would happen with that. But because it gives +1, it still gets that effect. Are we getting Necrotic Fumed on our Virtuoso? That is something I won't complain about. Okay, Goldspan. Touch the Spirit Realm can remove Goldspan without giving our opponent a treasure. Broker's Charm can do it while giving our opponent a treasure, but I think Touch the Spirit Realm will also let us get in with Stonebinder's Familiar. Yeah, this seems much better. No Goldspan for you. Stonebinder gets pumped up. And we are now the aggro. Opponent has to decide here if they want to save Kalain as Necrotic Fumes fodder or just block 4 damage now. They choose to block now. Okay. That looks to me like a Meat Hook's about to come down. Meat Hook is one of our biggest weaknesses here. Oh no, okay. Just Eye Twitch into Fumes. High Twitch Fumes is pretty solid. Yep. But now I think we're ahead, unless our opponent starts like pulling dragons out of nowhere. Ooh, that helps keep us ahead. We're still very dead to Meat Hook. Meat Hook is always a scary thing when you're playing a bunch of shield counter creatures. Deadly Dispute. Okay, our opponent's desperately digging, so I think they have Meat Hook in the deck, but not in the hand. Raiju. Okay, Raiju coming in. Pumping itself. I think we just block it, though. We lose the shield counter, but I think that's fine. And we're going to keep our aggro on. Jwari. Yeah, I think we just keep pushing. 6 damage this turn. And then if our opponent... Let's see. Yeah. I mean, Jwari's very unlikely to do anything. Our opponent would need to, like, Deadly Dispute into something in order for Jwari to get anywhere. But I think we're good just as is. Our deck's doing a good job of its tempo plan. Like, our opponent's got probably just, like, a bunch of sacrifice spells and stuff in hand, and they've got nothing really to do with it because we've kept everything off the battlefield. Ooh. Immersturm Predator. Okay. Best draw here is a land. Blizzard Brawl into Broker's Charm is potentially really brutal to our opponent here. What are they doing with Obnixilis? Alright, Devil, that makes sense. We may just Blizzard Brawl the Devil. Yeah, we're in trouble because Immersturm can sack it at instant speed and give itself indestructible. Okay, I think we may actually lose to that. Obnixilis, eh? So we can Blizzard Brawl and let our Disciplined Duelist die. We can Broker's Charm, draw 2 cards, see what to do from there. Yeah, I think that's actually the play here. Because we don't have any outs in our current hand. We have to just hope we draw into something crazy good. Played our outs. That is something crazy good. Okay. Plan is formulating. Stonebinder's Familiar. Attacking Immersturm Predator. Stonebinder's Familiar gets indestructible. They kill our Disciplined Duelist and pump up the Immersturm Predator. But we get to kill Obnixilis. Then Lagrella takes care of Immersturm Predator. And hope that things go well from there. That's where I'm sitting at on this. Okay, they exile a card from our graveyard. Oh, and that actually pumps up our Stonebinder's Familiar. Oh my goodness. Immersturm Predator. Helping us out. Actually, do we attack Obnixilis? Top deck Blizzard Brawl actually kills our opponent next turn if they have nothing going on. So I think we actually just swing in. Because then we can Lagrella that pumps. Yeah. Let's go for it. Who cares about your dumb Obnixilis? Mobnixilis doesn't really matter to us here. Okay, that does. That really does. We don't care about Jwari Disruption at this point. It's a dead card. But our opponents, yeah, they've got to keep everything back on defense. Voice of the Vermin is a very solid card here. Lagrella is a solid card. They cannot protect their Immersturm Predator, and it pumps our Stonebinder's Familiar up. Opponent's sitting here reading Lagrella, unsure what it actually does because it's just a giant block of text. Opponent finally gives up and decides to let it resolve and see what happens. Opponent realizing that it doesn't have to exile my Stonebinder's Familiar. And we are in business here. Do I attack? No. I attack your face. Yeah, I think I just attack face. I've got to just keep the pressure on. If I had Wild Growth here, that'd be pretty close to just victory. Oh, shoot. That was a good play for our opponent. the double block. Alrighty. Yeah, I forgot that they had Hive of the Eye Tyrant up. And now they get to learn Mascot Exhibition. Oh, shoot. Oh, Introduction to Annihilation to get back Immersturm Predator. That makes sense. I guess we go for white here, and I think we lost again. Ugh. Well, this deck felt really good this game. I was happy with how it felt. This is what I was hoping the deck would do. So even though this is a loss, I think this might have been my favorite game. Well, it does draw us a card. Woohoo. Get that Forest. Discard a card. I think we decline. We're going to keep up this Dwari Disruption and have hope that somehow it does something. Okay. Only got 6 mana, but that was a really nice draw. Voice of the Vermin. Swings in for 4, and it's got a shield counter on it. We've got Touch the Spirit Realm, which we can use to get rid of Immersturm Predator. We're holding up Dwari Disruption in case they do something absolutely crazy this turn and run out of mana. They make a Devil. That Devil is really annoying against shield counters. Passes the turn. Shimmerdrift Veil, not looking great. We will touch the Spirit Realm on Immersturm Predator. Opponent thinking about sacking their Devil even though it does nothing. Kazuul's Fury? What the heck? Wait, why didn't they actually use it to any target? Why didn't they use that? They just sacrificed it for no value. What the heck? Was that a glitch? I think that was a glitch. I think our opponent just got completely screwed over by a glitch. Oh, I'm so sorry, opponent. It has to deal damage to a target. So that was, they just played the card illegally. Like, they weren't allowed to do damage to no target. Like, even if there were no legal targets, they'd, like, have to throw it at their own face. Yeah, our opponent just got blown out by a bug. That's kind of stupid. We'll decline. And it's just a land. Good game. Likely a good game. You are correct, opponent. And they scoop it up. Wow. And that is a 3-3 with our tempo game going perfectly. I mean, even if Kazuul's Fury, they threw it at our face or at our creature, it wouldn't have done anything, but that was a weird glitch. I may need to have to document that. I'm glad I was recording. But yeah, 3-3, we've got an even record. Alrighty, I'm gonna head over to the wrap-up now. 3-3 record, and I added in the games that I played during testing as far as the record goes, where I went 4-1. So I think my issue is that I take my best decks during testing and I play them, and sometimes it's just that I was lucky with the best decks. And so I'm like, oh man, why am I doing a worse record here? And it's because I'm only choosing the decks that I was lucky with. But overall, with the deck list, I was pretty pleased. I think we could do a bit more with counter magic and a bit less with Voice of the Vermin. If you're going to upgrade this deck, first of all, mana base was kind of crappy. We saw that the deck did well despite the mana base, but it very much felt like a despite the mana base. Ligrella performed surprisingly well every single time that it did something. Like, I was very happy with Ligrella. Illuminator Virtuoso did not do much these games. It felt like it was removed far too often. And so Disciplined Duelist performed better than I expected. The shield counter on it was extremely significant, making it hard to remove for a lot of players. Touch the Spirit Realm, we saw the Exile clause, the channel ability on it work. Stonebinder's Familiar only really popped off in the last game. During testing, it was a lot more common to play Stonebinder's Familiar into Circle of Confinement, into Ligrella. So, very happy with it. If you want to build a sideboard, here's what I would recommend. Some more counter magic, just for certain matchups. If you need to close out the game quickly, Serpentine Ambush. So this is against something like Jeskai Storm, where they cast a bunch of cards targeting their own Goldspan Dragon to combo off. Some more counter magic and another fight spell. This would be good against like other tempo decks where they have small creatures and lots of non-creature spells. Borrowed Time if we're running into annoying permanents like Planeswalkers. Wild Shape if we're playing against Control. And Portable Hole for against aggro. If you're going to upgrade the deck beyond the mana base though, a few cards that I would consider trying are Luminarch Aspirant. Luminarch Aspirant is a very powerful tempo card, just constantly getting itself counters. Just generally the white aggro cards like Brutal Cathar, very good card as a replacement for Lagrella potentially, or maybe a replacement for Touch the Spirit Realm. We've also got Archon of Emeria, which can be a fairly solid card in the deck. It would force your opponent to only play one card each turn, which when you're playing tempo means you can just constantly counter them out. Just they play something, you remove it. They play something, you remove it. They play something, you counter it. And so if you get the earliest start, you win when you have Archon of Emeria down. Other cards, Ascendant Spirit. If you move away from some of these exile-based removal spells, Ascendant Spirit would be a great replacement for Stonebinder's Familiar. Mindlink Mech is an interesting choice for this deck, just because we've got double strike creatures. So like if you Mindlink Mech a Disciplined Duelist, it doesn't have the shield counter, but you're still swinging in for 8 in the air. Very interesting card to consider. And then last but not least, Linvala. Linvala is a great option, at least for the sideboard, as it can protect your board. It's perhaps better than Wild Shape. And so as far as what I'd cut from the deck to make room for some of these, Dwari Disruption kind of underperformed, but that may be that we only drew it late game. And Voice of the Vermin underperformed generally. And Broker's Charm kind of underperformed too. If you move a bit away from the double strike fight spell package, and you go for more like Ascendant Spirit and Brutal Cathar, then perhaps trimming on Broker's Charm would be the other place to trim. But that is Bant Tempo. Great deck. I recommend playing it if you like tempo decks. Like, I've already showed the counterspell heavy version of a tempo deck with the Azorius Delver. This is your removal spell based tempo deck. And I think next week I may do one more tempo deck that's built around discard. But we'll see. So until then, enjoy the deck and keep enjoying Budget Magic.